I love puzzle games, and what I'm puzzled about most is how this trilogy went so overlooked for so long. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I do the review of the Karoon Trilogy for the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube.
Second Opinion Games.
The first game in this trilogy is Karoon, which came out in Europe by the same people that made the Bloody Roar video games. And it had fairly decent success, mostly average scores. The graphics are kind of crisp and bright, the music sounds pretty good, and the gameplay is pretty darn good as well. You pilot a slow-moving helicopter through a maze, touch the walls 3 times, and you're dead. Every time you touch the wall, it adds time to your timer, which is pretty much just there to beat your own time. Also, there's a horn button that does absolutely nothing. And the fact that the Game Boy Advance had no analog stick whatsoever meant that you had to press the A or B button to move faster through the maze, or press them both together and move really fast. And that's the whole game. Also, there's collectibles, tons of them at that you could pick up along the way. Different skins for your helicopter, and many, many levels. There is no bosses in this game, so you don't have to worry about those, but the stages are kind of bosses in themselves. Overall, it's a pretty solid game, and even if you have a friend with an extra copy, there's some multiplayer, which I don't have either of those, so this game is pretty much all set to me. If you beat your high scores in certain ways, you could unlock even more of the game, but you know what? There's already plenty here, and beating some of these high scores is ridiculous. So instead, we'll just move on to the next game. And that is Karoon Paradise. Now, the biggest downfall here is the fact that it's a Japanese exclusive. However, the Game Boy Advance had no region lockout chip whatsoever, so feel free to import this one and even play it in your Game Boy Advance player and check it out on the big screen TV. You're going to actually need that little bit of real estate to really beat some of the harder levels, because sometimes the small screen of the Game Boy Advance just can't quite pull it off. Also, knowing that they were missing something from the first game, they added the right shoulder button, which allows you to spin your helicopter just a little bit faster. This makes the game feel a lot better, and it moves much more fluid. The same great graphics are here, the calming music is right on, and this time the story mode, well, you just don't understand anything that's going on. I assume you're trying to win back your other family members? I'm not really quite sure. Also, there's collectibles and hidden keys to have branching paths, and even mini-games. The mini-games act as the end bosses here, and there is a ton of them, and they all manage to be fun. Even cutting the grass, which is something I absolutely hate, is fun in this game. Multiplayer-wise, well, again, I don't have a friend, so I'm not going to show you, but there is multiplayer here, and can be done on one single game card, which probably means both of you are sharing a screen. Also, you're probably going to have to figure out the menus because of all being in Japanese, but really they're not that hard, and if you play around with them long enough, you'll make it through. This is a much better game, and I think anyone who enjoys a good puzzle game can love this one. I personally played through and beat it, and some of the levels at the end of the game I thought were virtually impossible, and there were no way I was going to beat them, and I ended up doing it in just 5-6 minutes of playing each level. It's unbelievably simple, easy, and a great time. And a bit of a frustrating one too. But the best was yet to come. Of course, I am talking about Karoon Squash for the Nintendo GameCube. Graphics here took a major overhaul, and the fact that now we have an analog stick means both the B and A button aren't definitely needed to speed up your ship. So just the B button makes you move a little bit faster. What's the A button do? Well, it brings back the horn, of course. Also, right trigger makes your helicopter move just a little bit faster, which you are going to absolutely need from time to time. Also, real boss battles enter the mix, and some of these can be very, very challenging. How do you beat them, you might say? Well, with the awesome amounts of power-ups that the game throws at you, one level at a time, giving you time to learn each power-up and teaches you how to use it properly to fight the boss battle at the end. This is a puzzlingly good time. There are so many puzzles being thrown at you. Sometimes you have to try and just figure out how to get to the end of the level. If you know how to work your way through the Japanese menus enough, you'll be able to see a little bit of a map that will actually help you. But if you don't feel like fumbling around, I'm sure that if you play the game long enough, you will make it to the end of even the most gruelingly difficult level. Also, when you beat the game, you unlock Little Ball Mode, which I accidentally erased all my save data, which means I would have to put, I don't know, like the 20 freaking hours back into this game to beat it. And my god, I just don't have that much spare time. But you know what I do have time for? Well, I dug up a friend, and there's multiplayer here. And I'm talking about really good multiplayer for up to 4 people. This is just me and one other person, of course, and there is battle mode, where you guys can fight it out and collect coins, because, you know, Japanese is all about stealing your money. So just pick up all the coins, bash your opponent, and don't touch the walls yet again, or maybe you'll be bashed and explode in the coin goodness, the way everyone in Japaneseville does, I guess. So keep playing that. Also, you know what it has? Race mode with different checkpoints, so if you do happen to blow up, you don't have to start back at the very beginning. Of course, you could just start back at the checkpoint. And this means there's going to be some very tight races, because if you're behind and you manage to explode on the wall, well, you will come back to life as a little tiny helicopter, which is quicker and more maneuverable, meaning you'll speed up and possibly even pass your opponent. Use this strategy to your advantage, and you will most likely win a lot of the time. Now, this is by far one of the best reasons to start importing for the Nintendo GameCube, and I recommend you do. Of course, you're probably going to need an action replay and a memory card specifically set aside for your Japanese import games. Other than that, that's all you need to get started, and I can't think of a better starting place to actually start importing. So, enough of my talking, just watch me play the game for a little bit and enjoy, and if you stick around to the end, I will give you a little bit more advice. And I love all 3 of these games. Of course, the first one's probably the worst, the other one is a great Game Boy Advance game, and the last one, Karoon Squash, is by far the masterpiece of the bunch. And I think you should probably just buy them all. That's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hey, hopefully you guys like this video and want to start importing games. Well, the Game Boy Advance is one of the best places to turn to import games because of it being region free. And if you want to see some more great games for the Nintendo GameCube that you can import, well, I already made a video on it. And while you're at it, also watch this other video of one of my favorite Game Boy Advance games ever. So until later, I'll see you again, guys.